there's a county just to the south of us that had a bounty, which was crazy. They have a county bounty. So they're actually paying people for coyotes that, I mean, you're not going to have any impact on the coyotes on a county level. There's no way. So, but you have that going on. So it goes on all the time. Yep.
Are there effective deterrents to keep them out of the flashing
Here.
red lights, wolf urine, and all this stuff? Does any of it really work?
So the hard thing, and that's kind of why we're looking at this genetic stuff, is that nothing works for all coyotes. That's the challenge. That's true for everything. So that's the lesson that we learned for the livestock depredation. So you usually have to use a variety of different things, and you have to keep mixing them up. So lights and noise help, but if it's too predictable, then they'll eventually become habituated to it. So if you can shake it up, if it's motion activated, that helps. You can use a variety of things. So you could go mark your property. So
How's that going to go in Little Springs? Do it at night.
So, but I'm only half kidding. So that actually, that does help.
It does.
Yeah, if you can do it without getting caught. So you can mark it. You can also do it in a way that won't get you in trouble. So, and we've
Not
done
as
this.
fun.
It's not as fun, not as satisfying probably, but you can do the same thing. So we've had like sheep producers do this successfully, and that's by taking some of your worn old clothes or something like that, just something that have an odor, and placing it on different parts of your property. And it doesn't take much to get coyotes nervous about things, and that's all you're really trying to do is just make them nervous. So some of the guys would have like an old T-shirt or something, and they would hang it up in different places. So if you move it around, but you have to have other things to do that. If it's just that, it's not going to be enough. But just have to be creative and use different things. Most of them aren't going to be a problem at all. The vast majority. That's the one thing that came out. And just to be clear, our goal is not to try and protect coyotes or present them in a certain kind of light. If we were showing that, let's say 80% of the coyotes were a risk, that they were eventually going to do something, let's say they were eventually going to attack a dog or a cat or something, then we would report that. In fact, that would be much easier to get funding if we were just to say that the majority of coyotes are a major problem. So that'd be easier, but they just aren't. And we've been waiting for that to change over time. You know, every year we have another generation, and coyotes born closer to people. Every year, and I keep thinking, well, some of them it's gonna change eventually, but so far it hasn't. Yeah, so and it's a good thing. So but don't leave food out.
No.
So don't leave food out. That's the worst thing you can do. And if you can try and cut down on other things that might attract them, like cover. You'll be surprised at what can attract them. Bird feeders, if it's just a normal little bird feeder, it's not a problem. But some people have huge platform feeders that can actually be an attractant. We've had a couple of our animals become nuisances because of the platform feeding. So things like that can draw them into your yard. So you want to do the opposite. You want to keep them from doing that.
Now, do they eat from the feeder, or do they eat what's eating them?
Right, they eat what's eating. So what's drawing them in is the rodents. So, and especially squirrels. So squirrels, you'll get a dozen squirrels working underneath that's an attractant. And so you're asking a lot of a coyote to try and walk past that and not take advantage of that. In fact, one of our animals is a young female. She actually learned to hunt squirrels at the bird feeders. So typically coyotes are not like they don't hunt like cats. They don't like crouch and wait and then jump on something, but that one was. And she became really good at eating the squirrels. So so it's the bird feeders, and yeah, don't leave the other kind of food out. Dog food, cat food, that's a bad thing. Yeah. So.
At night, I can hear, I'd say at least 3 groups of coyotes howling. I mean, all of a sudden, they just light up. Would that be one coyote making all that noise? Is a lot of yipping. And are they celebrating a kill?
Right, so misperceptions, you're asking about that. That's another big one, is the howling. So what does that mean? And so a lot of people hear that howling and they think they're either about to go kill something, or that they've just killed something, or that they're about to kill you. You know, things like that. So you'd be surprised. I've had like huge 300-pound guys scared to death. I mean, scared, crying when coyotes are howling.
They're very
because they think,
close, I can tell you that.
right. So it's usually more, it can be one, but usually you would pick that out, I think, if it's one. If it sounds like there's a lot, then there's probably more than one, but often it's not as many as you think. So there's actually a whole theory behind that, and that's actually what that grad student was testing. It's a thing called the Vogest hypothesis, which is false advertising. You're trying to, that howling is also advertising to their neighbors that this territory is occupied. So, and they can identify, we know they can identify voices. So they are used to their neighbors, and so what you want to do is try and portray that your group is bigger than it really is.
They only do this at night, right?
They usually do it at night, but they can also do it during the day. You can make them, I mean, you can get them to howl if you want. So you should go out and try and call to them. And you can get them to call during the day. We have some, especially with sirens, anytime there's emergency sirens that are going off, doesn't matter if that's day or night, a lot of times they will respond. But that's also one of those behavioral differences that I would like to measure. We know that there's certain packs, and I mentioned that not all coyotes start the howling bout. It's usually the alpha pair. And if the alpha pair have different personalities, some are bold, some are not, we also suspect that there's some that are more likely to howl and others that are less likely. So there's some groups that we've never heard howl, ever, and then there's others that howl all the time. And so it may be that's a difference in the alpha personalities. And so they actually influence, they create a personality of a pack. And it's the howling that creates that. So, but again, that's, you know, kind of at the front edge of that research. So there's a study actually that's just finishing up in California where they're looking at some of that, the genetic basis behind their howling. So, but that's what's going on, and it usually isn't related to a kill or anything like that. It's related to other things. And so when these guys are out radio tracking, they'll run into cases, and we have nice video clips that I didn't put in of howling bouts, and you can kind of tell what's going on there, and it's usually not just because they killed something or they're about to kill. They're usually just really happy to be around each other.
That is beautiful.
But they do howl when they kill.
So usually no, they don't, but I wouldn't say that that never happens because we still don't know all the reasons why they do that, but that's not typical. So, no. They can howl maybe sometime after that, but it may or may not be related to that. It's the fact that the group is together. A lot of times when the group is together, that's actually more of a stimulus for them to be howling than anything else. They're just like our dogs. Your dogs are social, and dogs want to spend time together. They're the same way.
And they're not killing large game.
Right.
So they celebrate, they're just killing little.
Right, so it's very...
They're not calling everybody for dinner.
Right. So, I mean, it's not a common diet item for them to have a large prey item. Some of them do. In fact, we used to have a pack over here in McGraw. It was the West Pack, that every winter, usually about December, on Island Lake, you would find a nice big deer carcass dead on the ice. And it was usually a nice big healthy buck. And they would normally not have anything to worry about coyotes, but they learned how to hunt on lake ice. So they would push them out on lake ice. And it was definitely a learned thing. So that one pack was the one that would do it year after year, until eventually there was turnover and stuff. But that's the one exception, is that occasionally they get a big diet item then, or if you have an animal that's wounded, so a deer that's hit or sick, then they will, so they'll test deer for sure. And if they give them the right signal, then they will go ahead and take it down, but it's not a normal part of their diet. Good, all right, thank you.
One of the things I neglected to say is that Stan, in addition to his work here at McGraw, is a full professor at the Ohio State University. He drove here today from Columbus to be with us. So thank you for that. As you can tell, we're awfully proud of Stan and his research and the team he's put together, including Shane McKenzie, who's one of our head guys here on the property. Ever since I met Stan, I no longer pull for the Roadrunner. He's completely changed my outlook. I also want to thank a couple people who are in the audience, most notably our board member, Joe Slowik, and his wife, Mary. If you saw the note from Charlie Potter this week, Joe and Mary and their family have given us tremendous support, and our Clay Target Center has been named for their family. So, Joe and Mary. And I'd like to thank our new general manager, Michelle Zesch, and her team for putting together this tremendous dinner. And lastly, I want to thank you, because this is why we exist, to do the sort of research that Stan does, to do the sort of inspiring work that Tracy and Colleen do up at the Center for Conservation Education, now the Pepper Family Center for Conservation Education, to do the work that Gordy Gotch does with aquaponics, and so much more that goes on here. It's wonderful work, the work that Roy does every day. We can't do it without you. Your support is what brings McGraw together, and it's what makes McGraw special. So I thank you for coming out, and I thank you for supporting McGraw. And thanks for coming.